Today on First and Feral, we're sitting down with Dr. Todd from Why the Face, the facial analysis expert who claims your face can reveal everything from your personality and strengths to hidden stress and health patterns.
He analyzed both of us before this interview, and we're just seeing the results for the first time, live today on the podcast. So buckle up because things get personal real fast.
This is First and Feral, Utah Unfiltered. Utah born, chaos sworn. No filters, no fluff, just real voices and wild stories from the Beehive State.
So, for our listeners, joining us today is Dr. Todd Frisch from WTF, or Why the Face. He is a facial analysis expert who has spent years studying the connection between facial features, personality traits, behaviors, and potential health indicators. So before we started recording, we had Dr. Todd run a facial analysis on Jess and I. We haven't looked at them. It's been very, very hard. So Jess and I haven't seen the facial analysis. We hope to go through it live today with Dr. Todd and get our reactions live, which will be so fun. So Dr. Todd, before we jump into all of that, why don't you tell our listeners what you do and what facial analysis is?
Well, I'm a retired physician. My retirement didn't take, so it just went crazy. But, as physicians, we are trained to ask, what's wrong. And I get that. The problem I had was I had patient after patient. I knew something was wrong. They knew something was wrong. And all their tests were textbook midline normal. So obviously the answer was 20 milligrams of Prozac, which I never felt, good about that therapeutic option. So I had this moment where I thought, what if I ask what's not right? And it sounds like semantics, but it's a huge word. And in my world, you literally have to be 2/3 sick before medicine sees anything wrong. That's not a slam against my medical training. It's just observational on my part. So I decided to, instead of asking what's wrong, I began looking and asking what's not right. And there was nothing out there. So I ended up studying everything. I studied Galen's Four Humors. I studied Jungian psychology. I took a swing at astrology to see if I could get anything out of it. Interesting stuff. It didn't give me the physiological aspect I was looking for. I studied Ayurvedic medicine and the three doshas. There were some interesting things in that. And then I got really deep into traditional Chinese medicine, and that's where I came across this art of face reading, which you know, it's kind of woo-woo until you have it done. And then it's like, holy cow, how could you possibly know these kind of things? So it started in my clinical practice and it evolved into now in my retirement. I read faces all day long. And it's just been an amazing thing. People want to know about themselves. And even though they know what I'm telling them, it just confirms and allows them to latch on and we connect better. I teach something to I do a lot of teaching to other doctors now. I teach something I call the faith circuit. And how this works is you have to have faith in what you do as a physician. And the only way you get and maintain that faith is you got to continue to learn. Then when a patient comes through your door and shakes your hand, there's an energy passage that occurs and they end up having faith in you. And when you complete that faith circuit, it really enhances the healing process. So when I got on the facial reading, I would speak to each one of you differently because you are different faces. And if I'm talking to a bucket face, which is what I am, there are 9 face shapes, I expect a lot of questions because we like to put things in our book. We have lots of questions. So Jordyn, you have a little bit of a bucket quality, and it's just part of your what you have. But and also Jessica, you have some bucket quality, but you each have a second face and being two-faced in my world is not a bad thing. It's actually kind of a positive. So I was able to communicate with people in a much more salient way, simply because I knew what words they would hear. And it almost sounds sinister the way I'm applying it here, but it really allowed me to communicate on a much, much deeper level. And it was just a remarkable way to practice medicine.
Yeah. Did
Yeah.
you know, before we dive into our analysis, because I'm so antsy, I can hardly wait. Just looking at me and Jess, would you have known we were sisters right off the
Yeah.
bat?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. We
Yeah.
can get into that a little bit more too. So,
Yeah.
okay.
The
So
familial tendencies exist, and the thing about face reading is nothing is good or bad. It just is, and whatever traits are there for either they were built by you or they were built into you, and so it's a nature nurture kind of thing that's going on here. So when I look at each one of you, there are traits that jump out at me that are pretty dramatic.
oh, I'm so excited. Do we just
Okay,
dive
yeah.
right in and start there?
Sounds good. Sounds
I
good.
love it. Okay, so you mentioned the face shape.
Yes.
Let's start there. So talk to us about the different face shapes, and then if you want to go through Jessica's and then go through mine, that would be
Sure.
awesome.
Happy to do so. I've got both of you.
Should we turn these over?
I know we haven't even looked.
We haven't
Literally,
even
I
looked.
just turned them over.
Turn them over. Is this where we're starting?
Yeah, we are.
The face shape is the
Yeah.
first.
Yeah,
Okay.
first page. So the important thing to realize here is the face shape that you are is a gift from our creator. Now, this gift comes with a caveat. You must use this gift to kind of honor the creator, but also to help mankind. So it puts a little different onus on the face shape that you are. There's a little more potency to it when you approach it that way. So you each have two gifts. I'm a classic bucket face. So we bucket faces. Now each one of you has a little bit of bucket quality to you.
Okay.
So what we do is we like to put things in our bucket. We have a thirst for knowledge that's unquenchable. And
Mhm.
goal setting for people like the three of us is a complete and utter waste of time because it's not about getting to the goal. It's not the goal. It's our walk towards that goal that excites us. Once we reach the goal, we're going, okay, what's next? We're bored, So it is just part of who we are. So all those times you thought you should set goals, and I'm not against setting goals. It's less important to us because the journey is what's important to us. Once we get there, it's like, all right, I'm completely utterly bored. I once set a goal. Look, I grew up in the doctor world in a Mercedes 80s. So it was all about the car you drove, the house, the bank account, and all that kind of stuff. And I set a goal because that's what we did in those days. Nightingale Conan was out there and all these courses you could get there on cassettes, and then CDs screwed everything up, and then everything. I did everything any other way you want. But I set this goal, a financial goal, and it was December 15th. And I realized by looking at my numbers that on Monday I was going to pass this goal, and I reached my goal. And I sat there looking at it, and I just cracked up. I go, well, now what? Do I have to make X amount of everybody be happy? I'll be happy when kind of energy. And it's not good energy. The journey was the joy for me, and that's when I just realized this is ridiculous. So let's start with Jessica. So Jessica,
Okay.
you're
I forgot to preference it with Dr. Todd has never met us. This is
No.
the very first time we're meeting each other virtually. So
Well,
I want to make sure that the listeners
see your
understand
pictures,
that.
so.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
true.
we
He
saw
did
your
see
faces.
our submission pictures. That's true. Very much
Yeah.
true.
So Jessica, your primary face is tree. So there's length to your face this way. So the
Okay.
tree face, you're deeply rooted. You can take the winds of life better than any other face. You like to grow on your own. Do not like to be trimmed back. Bad news. Do not trim you back. Worst job for you would
That's
be
so true.
the worst job for you would be indoors with no windows. Send you straight to hell. You would physically get sick. You have to be. Those branches got to feel that energy from the sun. You've got to have that as part of your life. So an indoor job would be very, very unhealthy for you. Now, the gift to mankind that you give is your ability to spread your branches and protect. That is your strength. You make the best moms, the best bosses, the best whatever. That is what you live for. So the problem I have with my female tree faces is they were so into taking care of others, they forgot to take care of themselves. So I would say to them, I'd say, you love to help others. Oh, Dr. Todd, I do. Then I would just quietly say, well, what if you couldn't do that? And then a tear, usually would come out of
I
the
was just
corner.
going to say, it's just going to cry right now, I think. Yeah, this is so true.
And I would say, what if you couldn't do that? And then I would say to them, look, let's spend a little time working on getting you really healthy so you can do what God put you on the earth to do. And they were all in. So it was that way to communicate with that tree face because you want to help others. Now your secondary face is the bucket. You love to learn. You love to think. We bucket faces. We're thought leaders. We're intellectually persistent. We're strategists. We're list makers, and we never finish our list, by the way. We'll add things to our list because
there's always something to add.
yeah, right. If we finish our list, God will take us home. So we can't, we finish our list. So those are the two faces that you are. So you are a thoughtful individual that likes to spread their branches and protect. Now, to Jordyn, you are mostly bucket. So again, you love to think. We can think of creative solutions to every problem, but we can think of creative problems for every solution. We tend to overthink because your primary face, Jessica, is tree. Jordyn, yours is the bucket. So again, we can get paralyzed, but we can also sit in the chair all day and just enjoy ourselves. We don't need anything, just our brain and a chair. And it's a wonderful time. Now, your secondary face is iron. It's more of a square, kind of a Winston Churchill kind of face. So the gift of the bucket face is intellect. And it almost sounds self-serving to say that, but it's what it is. And it is what it is. So both of you have high intellect. Now, the iron face, that's the 3 S's. You're strong, you're stable, you're stubborn.
Oh my heck.
Give you a job, you're going to get it done. Persevere, diplomatic, take it to the end in things you're interested in. Now, if you're not interested, screw it. You don't have anything to do with it. I don't want any a part of this thing. So you are a strong, stable, stubborn thinker. And Jessica, you are someone who likes to protect others that is also a thinker. So nice combination. Now, again, you're from your sisters. And why wouldn't you have the exact same faces? Well, nobody does, That's why kids are different. And kids don't come with an instruction book. I wish they did.
So interesting. So far, Todd, you're spot on.
Okay, thank you. I've been told that once before. So the next thing we do is we look at the right and left eye. It was interesting to do this. Taylor Frankie Paul. Yeah,
I watched hers. That was so interesting.
Yeah, it was interesting because normally the right eye is what you show to the world. It's your public persona. It's your mother's influence. It's what you want the world to see.
Okay.
The left eye is your true inner private self, and it's your father's influence. So if we see something only on one side, and it'll come up as we go through this, there's a gender specificity to that. So, Jessica, when we look at your right eye, you're very focused and very intense. Maybe intentional is probably a better word than intense. Intense kind of throws it to the anger side of the fence. But I think you're a little more intentional, but again, very focused. The left side, there's a hint of anger. Does that have to do with the male? Likely does. Sorry. Just the messenger. Yeah, but it's uncomfortably common to see this in females. Men do not have the respect of that feminine energy that we should have. And I think it's a huge mistake. And it's just not it's something that needs to be respected more. So there is that hint of anger. Now, in your situation, Jordyn, your right eye also focused and intense. And there's a hint of fear and a hint of sadness in your left eye. Don't know what that's about, and I'll just leave it lay there, and you can kind of let that flow through. Does that have to do with the male? Maybe, maybe not, but those are the two things that show that. And I wish I could put math to what I'm seeing here. I can't. It's just more a feeling or a sense.
Well, I have a question about that, though. So could it be, does it have to be current?
No,
absolutely.
Any point in your life. When we get to the ear, Jessica, you have got a marker at, I think, around age 10, and we'll talk about that, what that's all about.
What?
So, let's just jump.
Okay, we'll move through, but I'm baffled right now.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
This is so cool.
So where's the mark? So you're
There's a
looking at
knot.
my ear.
There's notch in your ear at age that corresponds to age 10. So we do the face shape. We do the right left sides of the face. That's our starting point. For instance, when I did this young lady, Taylor Frank Paul. Now, I have to be upfront. I've never watched Secret Lives of Mormon Wives.
You should, Dr. Todd. It's good.
It's an interest. I read all their faces. There was such demand for this Taylor Frankie Paul that I was asked to read all their faces, and I did. And Taylor, her right eye, she's kind of wary and suspicious. That's not a typical thing you see on what you want to show the world. That's something you would much more want to hide. So that right off the bat is not the most positive thing you can see. And her left eye, there's incredible sadness. That has to do with the male. Now, it's interesting on the, I made a note here. So I guess there's 9 people on that show. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
So 4 of them are complete king faces. That's that strong jaw. Okay. Now, I could easily go with king for both of you. There is a hint of that strong jaw king quality, but the other faces kind of override it. So the king face, they're natural leaders. They see both sides of the fence, and they all like to have their own way. This is catastrophically bad to put 4 of them together.
Probably why producers chose them. They need you.
This is catastrophically bad. It's like if I hired 3 king faces to run my front desk, it'd be awful because they all want to lead. Now there's 1, 2, 3, 4 others also have a king combination. The only one that is not a king face is Macy, and she is an interesting face,
which makes sense because Maisie doesn't ever take a side. She's usually kind of the middle, like
she's a bucket face, so she's going to think about everything. Oh, let me think about that. And face reading is so universal. There's a universality to it. If you're a salesperson and you call on me, plan on calling on me more than once because I'm a bucket face. Because I got to think about it. Okay. Now, call on my wife who's a king face. Do not waste time. The king face is, as a patient, the king face is energy. Can you help me? How long does it take? What's it going to cost? Let's go. I don't want to talk about sports. I want to talk about the weather. Let's get the job done. So so if you call on a king face as a salesperson, you come in and say, look, this is what I have. This is the best price I can give you. You don't have to come back and try to Presbyterian me down. This is the best I can do. If it's something that interests you, great. If not, have a good day. And then turn around, walk the door. Before you hit that doorknob, that purchasing agent is going to say, come here. I want to buy that because he knew what words would connect to this individual and he respected that. So they're natural leaders, but if you put all of them together and 8 of the 9 have some king quality, this is not going to go well. It's just going to cause a lot of clashes because they all want to have their own way. It's fascinating. So anyway.
Fascinating. So I have a question to that. So Jess and I are, not to give away too much, but we are both not in sales, but in leadership positions in sales. And so I'm wondering, based on what our analysis, if we're in the right spot, like, do we fit that or is
absolutely. Jess, you'll protect everybody. And then you'll use your intellect to help everybody. And Jordyn, you're going to bring everybody up to the front. It's kind of, the iron face, Trump is an iron face, Putin's an iron face, Hillary is an iron face. And, everybody rips on Trump and everybody rips on Hillary. And I hate reading politicians because I lose half my audience because they just get all cranky with me. And I go, I'm reading the face. And don't call me Republican, don't call me Democrat. I choose who I vote for based on their face. I could care less. I love my country, my government.
Now we got to read your book because this is so cool. Yeah.
Yeah. So Trump is an iron face. So if he were a king face and he would have won, he'd have come up on that podium at 3 a.m. like he did, and he would have told everybody and pounded his chest. What did Trump do? Everybody came out of from behind that curtain. Oh, there are 50, 60 people up there. He brought everybody up there because that's what you do as an iron face. You will bring everybody to the front that helped you. That is your strength. And, there's people that are going to hear this Trump jerk. He's not that at all.
Yeah.
Get over it. I'm just a pastry. so I don't have any allegiance to any party. Again, I love my country. Don't care much for my government. Never
And
did.
I love that you vote based on faces.
Totally.
That's why I'm intrigued. I want to be better versed in this so I can do the same.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, this supports your ability in like all things, I feel like, reading.
It really is. That's why I say there's a universality to it.
Yeah, like I've learned how to read like a vibe or a feeling.
Sure.
Or
but
energy.
That's a female trait. And and men do not have that trait. And
No.
I can here's the I'm gonna look. We're gonna go down, and this is gonna last 7 hours, but just let's have fun. so all embryos are female. They carry they carry an X. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now the determination of the sex is brought in by the sperm, and it will either donate an X to that egg, and you come out 2 X's in your female, or it donates a Y. Now, if it donates a Y chromosome at around 6 weeks, this is determined in this situation. If the Y chromosome is donated, there's a 40% destruction between the right brain and the left brain, and all the brain damaged babies that are born are men. So, because there's 40% less connection between our right brain and our left brain. This is a medical fact. I'm not, this isn't some weird woo stuff. So you have 40% greater connection between your right brain and your left brain, the two of you, than I do. So when my wife says, I feel this, and I go, I don't feel that. I'm never going to feel that. She's always right, and it pisses me off.
I talk about this all the time. How do you not feel that?
Because you have 40% better connection between your right and left brains. So you will sense things much more accurately. Men can learn it, and I have, but it took a Herculean effort to get to the point where I developed the sensitivity I now have. It didn't come naturally like it does for a female. And this is why God made us this way. Women are governed by serotonin. Men are governed by dopamine. There's a joke there. I realize that. So protecting others raises dopamine. Serving others raises serotonin. This is a godly principle. This is why when second marriage for my wife and I, when we blended our families, she had 2 boys and I had 2 girls and a boy. She instantly loved my kids. Just instantly. And her nose-picking, snotty little son, and then I fell in love with them. I love those boys. I wish they were my own. So it took me time to get what she got instantly, because that's the nature of serotonin in the brain, is to nurture. And our tendency is to protect. And that's why when you talk to us, we go, just tell me what you want, and I'll fix it. No, you want to talk. No, we want to fix. And serotonin talks, dopamine fixes. So this difference is a godly plan. This is how we were built. So, boy, we went off, but it was fun, wasn't it?
I'm still thinking about the ears. So if we can get into the ears.
Okay, I'm sorry. Keep me on track.
Did you have a question?
No, I don't. So.
Okay, so there's 21 features of the face. So we do the face shape, we do the right and left eye, and then there's 21 features. We start with the ears, go to the top of the head, and work our way down. The ear itself has 21 different diagnostic parameters. So it's incredibly diagnostic. Now, why is that? Well, this is based on traditional Chinese medicine, and the ears represent your kidneys. So each feature has a physiological component. The ears represent your kidney, and there's a psychological component. It has to do with fear and risk taking. So when we look at the ears, the basic tenet in face reading is more, less is less. If your ears are bigger, which yours are, Jessica, you're more comfortable taking risks. Now, Jordyn, you have smaller ears, so you're not as comfortable taking risks. You're a little more timid. A little more timid in that regard. So as we go through, I'll just do Jessica's first. So your ears are large. You tend to be more durable, generally healthier, good listener, and not afraid of taking risks. They're both, and yours are small. So you tend to be a little pay a little more attention to your health. You're a little more cautious, a little more self-critical, a little more introverted, a little more thoughtful. It goes on and on and on and on.
Yeah.
Stuff.
Okay.
Both of you are flat to your head. Mine are aggressively so. If your ears are forward-facing, like Prince Charles, I guess he's King Charles now, these people with forward-facing ears, they like to hear their own voice. They hear everything, but they don't listen. We all three of us suffer from a condition called misophonia. Mine is aggressive. Misophonia means hatred of sound. We're at a theater and there's a gum snapper 3 rows behind us. We just want to beat him to death with our popcorn bugs.
Oh, no.
This is so Jessica.
That's really my phobia. Like, I will hear people chewing.
Yeah. And we can't. Now, if I'm chewing and somebody else chewing, it's fine. But if I'm not chewing and they're chewing, I lose my mind. I have a serious issue. Now, we can also listen to more than one conversation at a time. The problem is you're out to dinner with your husband and he's talking to you. And he's thinking she's not listening. Well, you are listening, but the person on your right's changing jobs. The person behind you going on vacation. The person on your left's having an affair. And the person in front of you is talking. So you hear everything. All three of us hear everything. And it's just, the nature of the beast. It's a little more aggressive on you, Jessica, than it is on Jordyn. Both of you have high set ears. That has to do with where the top of the ears are in the corner of the eye. This indicates tend to be more realistic. You can handle the limelight. You don't seek it. I just had a very famous actor become enamored with my work, and he had really extraordinarily high set ears. And most actors don't. They're low set. They like the limelight. They want to be out there. They want to perform, that kind of thing. And he said to me, and I spoke this to him, and I said, I'm a little surprised because this is very rare for an actor. And he says, yeah, I don't care for the limelight. Now, he was a child star, and he says, I got famous very early. He said it just wasn't important.
We listened to it. It was, remind me his name. I listened to his podcast.
Oh, Michael Fishman, yeah.
Yes, yeah, we listened to his podcast. Yeah. So interesting.
Yeah, just fascinating individual. And he will become, I'm sure he already is a director. He's going to do very good in that area because he doesn't need the limelight, which is interesting. Again, steady, reliable, down-to-earth common sense. Now, we're going to veer off a little bit. So, Jessica, at around age 10, there's a little notch in your ear. This can be either a physiological event or a psychological event that marked you. It made an impact on you. So did anything happen around age 10 that was significant? And and if it's uncomfortable, just don't answer it. But not normal.
It's not uncomfortable. I haven't talked about it on the podcast, but near that age, I was almost kidnapped.
Okay. Oh, okay. That
when
that
you
will
said
impact.
that, I was like,
Yes, that was a big event for me. And it still is something that it's not, I have some triggers from it, but it's not, I feel like it's gotten worse being a mother now.
Yes.
Than it was affecting me before I had children. It wasn't.
Yeah. And again, you don't have that marker, Jordyn. So it's an interesting aspect of it. So we're going to switch over to Jordyn. There's some vertical line. This little thing coming over here that covers the whole ear. It's called the tragus. You have some vertical lines on the right side only. So this indicates you may have experienced some poor stability in childhood and/or poor parental support. So, and it's on the right side. Well, good relationship with your mom. You don't have to answer that if you don't want to. So both of you have if you notice my earlobes, they're really hanging down. Both of you have your earlobes are kind of attached to the side of your head. When earlobes are attached, means you're very attached to family. Family is just, you're both mama bears. You just mess with your kids and you're dead. That individual is going to be in a bad way. Does this mean I don't care about my family? No, it's just I don't have that attachment that you have to family. And I'm a little more easygoing on that, where you are super, super protective because you're very attached to family. Family is exceedingly important to you.
Mm-hmm.
Both of you have your ears are set back from your cheekbone. There's no bucket face on earth that doesn't have this. This means we rely on intellect in making decisions. So it's if your ears are more forward on your face, you're more prone to quick judgment and quick decisions. Well, we're going to just let me think about that. I'm not so sure.
Does that have anything to do with? Because I do feel like especially when making decisions, I'm kind of an emotional decision make not emotional, but like I rely on like energy and like
Yeah. Yeah,
more
that's
than
exactly what it is.
oh
As
okay.
do I. As do I. I mean,
Okay.
I just, I
How
gotta,
you feel.
Like a gut
yeah,
feeling.
yeah,
Yeah.
gotta,
Okay.
go with that.
Got it.
But you
Okay.
said no bucket face has ears that are forward. You've never read someone that
No.
has
If you're a
bucket.
bucket face, your ears this isn't, I mean, forward face, it's just where they're placed. Are they placed closer to the cheekbone or farther back from the cheekbone? All of us our ears are placed farther back from the cheekbone, which is, again, a trait that comes with bucket faces because we think and we have to think about
Yeah.
everything. It's just an interesting trait. Next is forehead. What do we got? No, hairline, excuse me. So
Okay, yeah. Hairline.
both of you have wide hairlines. So this indicates kind of prefer to work alone. Don't mind standing up for yourself. You have been a tad rebellious as a teenager. But the good thing is you tend to rebel against conformity. Status quo is not something either one of you is interested in. Third chair in a secretarial pool is not your place in life, ever. It's just not.
Yeah.
You could do it, you just would never be happy there. And that's what that wide forehead tells us. Again, rebel against conformity. Now, Jordyn, on yours is a little uneven. So your teen years were a little challenging. I always say, I'm sure you enjoyed your teen years. I'm not so sure your parents did.
What's surprising is I actually would say that more about Jessica. I feel
Really?
like, but I mean, it depends on what we're talking about because I did have some challenging years for sure.
Yeah. But again, yours showed up a little bit there. Jessica's did not. So forehead is next. Both of you have very prominent, large foreheads. Again, more is more, less is less. What's behind the forehead? The brain. So we got bucket quality. So we love using our brain. We love the process of thinking. Again, it's just the nature of the tendency. Jessica, I'm going to go through yours. Your forehead from a side view is domed, so you have a high creativity marker. You just enjoy the process of thinking. You're a very good multitasker, but you get bored really quick. That's what that domed forehead tells us.
Okay.
So in your situation, Jordyn, yours is kind of flat from a side view. So it means you like to make your own way in life. You're serious, a quick learner. You like facts. You're a very linear thinker. Strong character, can be kind of fixed in your views. Not real fond of a lot of a change.
I feel like I'm like, whatever.
Yeah.
I don't feel like it.
No.
It's
you
very,
want to be
very, very analytical, that kind of thing. Both of you have a few horizontal lines there. This is an indicator of a little bit of intestinal weakness, gas and bloating are the most common symptoms. Remember, as a physician, asking what's not right, I would use facial analysis to help me understand. I know it doesn't show on a blood test, but you get all these liver indicators. Your liver enzymes are fine, but you got one-sided headaches. You're very angry. You got, there's lots of muscle tension. Those are liver indicators. So I knew I needed to support your liver. If you had digestive issues, then I would support it differently than if you didn't have digestive issues. So there was always things to kind of do. So these horizontal
So
lines.
looking at that with the lines, well, is there something me and Jess should be doing, like taking a probiotic?
Well, I mean, these are intestinal issues. In your case, Jessica, your lines kind of droop in the middle. So without getting completely gross, you're kind of pooping uphill. So what your intestine comes up on the right, it turns by the liver, traverses the abdomen, transverse colon, turns by the spleen, descends, and then it's kind of an S shape and poop comes out. So as you traverse this, that's kind of drooped down. So several things can happen here. One, constipation can be a little bit of an issue. It doesn't have to be, but it can be. But oftentimes this lack of vitality in this area causes this to lay on top of your bladder. So you got to peel because the bladder can't fill as much as someone that doesn't have pills. So it just indicates some weakness in your intestine.
Tell us, Jess, are you constipated and have to pee a lot?
No, but I wonder if it has anything to do with. So I was diagnosed with gluten and wheat allergy maybe 5 years ago, and so
absolutely.
I do have
Inflammation causes water to come into the bowel, and that's what causes the droop. It's an inflammatory marker. So it's just, and again, I know normally I'd have history, I'd done an exam, I'd look at labs, those kind of things. In this situation, I'm just reading what's there. But typically, food sensitivities are going to be part of a prolapse of your transverse colon.
Okay. Yeah, that would make sense.
So we move next. Those are not relevant. Between the eyebrows, not relevant. Eyebrows. This is an interesting one.
Ooh, okay.
So both your eyebrows come slanting in. All 9 of these gals on Secret Lives, their eyebrows all come in like this. Now, this is a sign of being very critical. Now, this is not a bad thing. If you're an accountant, that's you're going to naturally have that happen. Your eyes are going to get narrow, they're going to get closer together because you're hyper focused. That's the nature nurture aspect. But this is a sign you can be a little critical of yourself. So quit beating yourself up. And you can also be critical of others. Now, you take a bunch of king faces with these kind of eyebrows, this is not going to bode well. And I'm sure Hollywood likes this kind of thing because there'll be a lot of clashing and that kind of stuff. But it's
I was going to say they did this on purpose. Yeah.
Yeah, they very may well have done that. So both of you eyebrows are kind of thinner to the outside. Is there any family history of thyroid issues in your family tree that you're aware of?
I have a thyroid.
This is it's a low thyroid. It's called a Hertog sign. It indicates low thyroid function.
Yes.
For both of
I take
us?
medication for that.
Both of you have it. Yours is more aggressive, Jessica.
Yeah.
So,
I take medication, and then I know it's in our family too, George. Like, I think grandma does.
I know, but I'm wondering if I need to get mine checked.
Yeah. Well, sadly, they're kind of inept medically. We're kind of inept in testing this. You got to go to somebody that really knows what they're doing. Thyroid can go wrong in so many different locations. They just run what's called your thyroid stimulating hormone and say, oh, it's fine. Well, did you rule out Hashimoto's thyroiditis? Do you have an autoimmune condition? All these kind of things can go into play. So it also can indicate a lack of sibling support. Now, my eyebrows are thin to the outside and they get thicker to the inside. I'm the baby of the family, and I had no support from my brother. I do not have a thyroid problem, but I had no sibling support. I love my brothers. I'd take a bullet for them, but they were not supportive. And it is what kind of drove me. Whatever they did, I did the opposite. They hunted and fished. I didn't. I played sports. They didn't. I excelled in school. They did not. I moved away. They did not. And it was kind of a pissing contest from day one. So, but it made me who I am. So, again, we don't want to put good or bad to any of this kind of stuff. So,
I was going to say though, growing up, Jess and I'm a middle child. So my little brother and Jess were very much on a team, and I was not in that team.
So yours is probably lack of sibling support, where Jess, yours is a thyroid issue. Both of you have different heights. This means you can be a little moody, a little oversensitive, and again, may have had a tempestuous relationship with a parent or a step parent growing up. A lot of the gals on Secret Lives had this real different height. Pretty dramatic on many of them. So, Jessica, your left eyebrow is a little more sloping than your right. So this indicates you're kind of hard on yourself more than you should be. So don't do that.
Thank you.
Yours, Jordyn, is a little more on that right side. It's coming down. This indicates there may have been a critical male in your life that impacted you. So just let that float in and see what comes up after it spits through the computer.
That.
Yeah. So next we move to eyes. Eyes are fascinating. So Jessica will do yours. Your eyes are very large. This means you're healthy both emotionally and spiritually. You tend to naturally be more happy, very soft-hearted, very generous, very intelligent, teeming with ideas. Your eyes are very wide set, so you're a big picture person. Again, you can be an accountant and you could be very good at it, but you'd hate it. It would not, it's not your place. You see the world too broadly. Travel agent, good choice. Accounting, not so good. Your pupils are slightly enlarged. Jessica, this indicates a part of your nervous system is overactive. You're in a state of what's called sympathetic dominance. It's part of your nervous system that handles your fight-flight mechanism. And that is not running as efficiently as it should be. So lights can bother you, your mouth can get dry, you can skip heartbeats like you're having a panic attack, your digestion kind of shuts down. So those are the things when you're sympathetic dominant. So you don't have that, Jordyn. However, in your situation, Jordyn, your pupils are slightly unlevel. So this indicates a history of a traumatic brain injury or concussion.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
is this a serious thing? Well, if you can't remember anything and you got one-sided headaches and you got weirdness in your head, yeah, you got to pay attention to this. I was very good at traumatic brain injuries because I saw it before other people could see it, and I would be proactive and support brain health in many different ways. I was supporting brain health before it was popular. And again, I started in practice in '81, so I've been doing this a long time, and this was germane to my way of thinking very early on. So uh, again, it may mean nothing, or it could be significant. There is no
So
such thing
here's
as a
my
minor
question for
concussion.
you. Is there, in both scenarios, so like with Jessica's scenario and mine with the traumatic brain thing,
Yep.
is there something that we can be implementing to
Sure.
fix it?
Sure. Lots of things, Fish oil is very good. You want to get a higher a higher DHA to EPA ratio. EPA is cardioprotective, DHA is cognitively protective. So you can just get a fish oil that's got a higher DHA content than EPA.
Okay.
That's really good for brain health.
Okay.
And there's tons of other things. I mean, but probably not.
It does say in mine severe emotional stress or trauma.
Yeah, you can have what's called an emotional concussion. I had an interesting discussion with Daniel Amen. He's just a world-renowned neurologist, and he's written 25 books. And I brought this to his attention, and he totally agreed. I believe you can injure your brain emotionally with the same veracity as if you slammed your head on the concrete. The emotional trauma can be so great that you can actually concuss your brain and have abnormal brain function because of it.
Wow.
Your eyes are also very wide set, Jordyn. So then we have what's called the inner canthus. Now, no one's ever heard what that is, but that's this area right here, right between the corner of your eye and the bridge of your nose. All three of us, it's kind of discolored in there, it's a little darker. All three of us have a little tendency towards hypoglycemia, low blood sugar. This is a pancreas indicator. This is at 10 in the morning, 2 in the afternoon. You kind of sleepy and weird, and the brain doesn't work right. Crave carbohydrates. You don't eat, you get shaky. Those are the things that we'll see. Now, is this a precursor to diabetes? No. Could it be? Yes. So again, a lot depends on history and symptoms and blood work and all those kind of things as we go through it.
So sorry again. What do we need to do? Like, help us.
Yeah, that's going to be the theme throughout this whole thing.
I
Look,
know.
if you have this, you want to do a protein only breakfast. Start your day with protein only. A couple of eggs and call it good.
Perfect.
Eat a burger.
If I feel that way though too, I will eat 2 string cheeses, and it like pulls me right out of it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it's protein. So it's you see this a lot in vegetarians. They just don't have enough protein. And look, be a vegetarian, not be that's your call. But if you got symptoms that are a result of you not eating protein, then get a source of protein that's going to be, acceptable to your belief system. But protein in the morning. If you eat, Frosted Flakes in the morning. You're gonna exacerbate your blood sugar. It's gonna do this up and down all day long. Yeah. And when that gets messed up, the body goes, "What am I gonna do with this glucose? Oh, I'll go store it over here." Well, how does it store it? Well, it builds fat cells. So this really enhances the production of fat cells. Upper eyelid is next. In your case, it's not relevant at all, Jessica. So
it's not that. What? Sorry, what did you say?
There's nothing there that is relevant when it comes to your upper eyelid. Jordyn, in your left eye, there's a little puffiness that's a little greater on the left side in the upper eyelid. This is a gallbladder indicator.
Okay.
So again, it's uncomfortable how often I see this in a female because the emotion of the gallbladder is anger. Women lose their gallbladder in 8-to-1 ratio to men. You can't hear that. I mean, we as bucket faces can never hear anything go, what's that all about? We're going to say, is the female built wrong and built differently? No. It has to do with how women handle anger and men handle anger. Men externalize anger. We do stupid things that end up in prison. Women internalize anger and lose their gallbladder. Women and pastors lose their gallbladder because it's not proper for them to show anger. We used to go to a mega church in St. Louis, and the pastor is having some gut issues, and finally is complaining about it weeks on end. And Linda finally says, "All right, what's going on?" I said, "He's got a bad gallbladder." So next week we're at church and pastor's not there, and they said he's in the hospital having his gallbladder removed. Well, he internalized anger too much. And so,
Does that mean I'm going to lose my gallbladder? Like I have
well,
to go
don't
get it.
internalize anger and you won't.
Oh no, I got to work on that.
Yeah. And really, it's just more comfortable for a female to internalize anger.
Yeah,
And it's got to do something.
I do.
So the gallbladder takes the hit. And of course, the liver could take the hit, but you can't lose your liver. You can remove your gallbladder and live. You take your liver out, you're a goner. So it's not good. So, Jessica, underneath your eyes, both of you have a little darkness under there. This is a little bit of a kidney deficiency. Kidney governs bone, so joint pain is common, low back pain is common. Very common for females to have this because your reproductive system comes into play here, and there's just some sluggishness that comes into play with that. And so both of you have adrenal lines. So these lines that come out of the corner of your eye and sweep across here, adrenals deal with stress. And the question is never, are we under stress or are we not? Because we're all under stress. The question is, do you adapt or do you maladapt? Both of you have a greater adrenal line on your left. Does that mean you've been stressed by a male? The answer to that would be yes.
Oh no. Oh my gosh, that's so true right now.
Yeah.
Is it not?
You probably want to take that. There'll be a fault.
No, it's okay. He knows who he is.
Yeah. But again, it's extremely common in the female. It's almost sad how often I see it. It's that uncomfortable that we don't realize the impact we can have on our significant other.
So my question for you is, will that go away? Like once this is resolved, it'll go away?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. Nothing is permanent on the face.
Jess, you had a question about the eyebrows.
Mainly, I have a question for you about Botox because I feel like Botox can change, like if my eyelid is droopy or higher or like whatever. So
I can only read what was there. I can't tell. Like there's one gal, just way too much plastic surgery.
I feel like you could change so much with like your lips.
I had a hard time reading her face.
Yeah.
On The Secret Life of Mormon Wives? Is that
I'm looking. Jessie, I don't know how to pronounce her last name. Just, I mean, she's done things to her body that aren't.
She did just recently had plastic surgery on her face, though. The
she
blood
did. Yep. She did. Yep. Well, she had that, and then she had like fat grafting, and
there's just way too much going on. And look, if you have a nose and you look at a mirror every day, you hate yourself, get a nose job. But embrace the aging process. There's great wisdom. I do not like. My hip's about to be replaced, and I'm 73 years old. I'm not happy about that. And I was naive to think that I was invincible. But you know, the brain is something. Boy, you know, my body's crapping up, but I'm not going to let my brain do that. And so I think we have to respect the wisdom that comes with the aging process because I love what my brain has become as I've aged. And I see things differently. I have more compassion. I have more understanding just because I've been on this earth longer. And it's easier to do. These gals are not strong on The Secret Life when it comes to that.
They're young.
You do always say, like, with age, you're like, well, in hindsight, in my 20s, I wish I knew this or whatever. I do think there's something to that of just experience in life.
Absolutely. Life. You know, we all get dealt a hand. It's how you play it. That's the key. You know, play it in an intelligent way. So, cheeks. Both of you have slightly flat cheeks. This means you tend to resist authority, prefer to work alone. You can avoid you like to avoid conflict. You can be moody. I'm sorry, it's done.
Okay. That's pretty true.
I'll own it, I guess.
Both of you.
I'll own it, I guess.
Yeah. It's always, just is. Pores are a little large. This indicates a little bit of an oxygen debt. Fatigue can be a factor here. Best thing for this is walking, exercising. You know, it increases oxygen carrying capacity.
Okay.
I'm assuming your parents were not smokers because you'll see this oftentimes in secondhand smoke as a child.
No. Yeah.
Oh. No, they weren't. But we are both mothers, and that's exhausting.
Yeah.
If that has anything to do with oxygen.
There are things that can take your breath away emotionally that end up making your pores very large. The emotion of the lung when there's a deficiency, large pores can be a deficiency. The emotion of that is despair. It's different than depression. Depression is I'm depressed. This is the reason why. Despair, there's more of a hopelessness component. And a couple of guys connected with my wife and I, and we formed a company, and they wanted to make an AI version of my book. And I said, I don't think you can do that. And they said, well, if you can teach me to read a face, I can teach a computer. And I said, well, I can teach you. And so we formed this company called FDX Inc., Facial Diagnosis Incorporated. And June 25th of last year, we signed a 5-year, multi-million-dollar contract with the military for early detection of PTSD, post-traumatic stress, traumatic brain injury, depression, and despair. And at the meeting, when I was speaking at this meeting in South Carolina, somebody said, what's the difference? And I said, well, interesting question. The dictionary, and even the world of psychology, puts depression and despair in the same place. But I said, the difference is if a soldier's got PTSD and they're depressed, they may be suicidal. If they got PTSD and they've got despair, suicidal ideation went up 1,000-fold. At the break, this guy came at me like a heat-seeking missile. He said, I know this is true. I've never heard this. This is unbelievable. And he was the head of the suicide prevention hotline for the VA. And they signed the contract. And
congratulations, that's amazing.
From quack to having the government saying, value.
Yeah.
When they signed that contract, I burst into tears. I leave the room. I lost it.
I bet.
I'm going to lose it right now.
I bet. That's so cool. And what an impact you're making, on people.
It is. I had a mentor once he was my acupuncture mentor, Dr. Richard Yenny. He was just wonderful. And I was young and brilliant. And only one of those adjectives was accurate. He said, look, you're going to go through 3 phases in your career. And the first phase is survival. And I was in that. I was trying to make a living and trying to impact and learn my trade and impact people and have them refer. He said, now, again, this was the Mercedes 80s. So this was happening. He said, now the second phase you're going to go through is success. And I remember sitting there and go, what the hell is better than success? and he just let it lay there for just that pregnant moment. And he said, you're all wondering what's better than success. And he says, the answer is significance. I've met many successful people that are putrid, horrible human beings. I've never met anybody that became significant that was anything but significant.
I love that.
So I'm past the point where I got to win any pissing contest in life. My goal is I want to end up being significant. Then I get to meet folks like you, and it's just great.
I really love that goal.
Yeah,
it is. That's a goal that's worthy, and I hope I never obtain it.
Yeah, keep striving for it, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the nose, shall we? So, Jessica, your nose is long, which means you tend to be very responsible, good sense of right and wrong, good follow through, a strong sense of accomplishment, good business sense. Both of your noses are very balanced to your face. They're very good. Nose is about power, drive, ego, and leadership. So both of you have abundant strengths in that area. You're not egotistical, but you don't have a self-worth problem because your nose is very balanced. Both of you, your nostril is kind of turned up. So if we're looking at you straight away, we can kind of see your nostrils. This indicates that you're very sentimental, generous, friendly. This is why you're checking out at the grocery store and somebody comes up and shares a life story with you, like, TMI.
Yes.
But they see that and they know you're approachable, you care, you're sentimental, and people pick this. We all do facial diagnosis. They just pick it up and they're there. So that's the nose.
I have a question about the nostrils, and this might mean nothing, but remember, Jess, growing up, you would always make fun of me. Or was it you? It's because my nostrils are uneven.
Yes, they are uneven.
Yeah,
Like,
that's
Either, though.
no, that's diagnostically of a little bit of a lung issue. That's not.
lung issue?
Yeah, you're not getting the oxygen in as well as you should. And some nostrils are very long. The noses are very long, very thin, and some are just pug noses and they're big, round. So go to Norway, and what do the noses look like? They're very long noses, very thin. Why would those people have that? Well, they live in cold weather. So the noses are long and thin, so the air comes in slowly and time to warm it up. Now, go to the equator, and you see these very short noses with huge nostrils. Well, you don't want to warm that because they're in that heat. So they just genetically morphed into that as their norm.
Yeah.
So this is very understandable and very logical when you point out the obvious.
Because sometimes at night I lay down and I'm like, I feel like I should be able to breathe better through my nose.
Yeah, well, one of them, you're breathing through one and not the other.
Yeah, that's true.
That's
What do I do? How do I fix it?
Yeah, I mean, that's a little more involved. And probably that'll be our second get together.
like,
Oh man, that's so true.
researching.
Yeah.
Next is your nose tip. You both have what's called a gourmand nose. It means gourmet. You're both quality over quantity. You'd rather have a couple of nice pieces of jewelry than a bunch of crap you don't care about.
Yeah.
And this is a wonderful trait. It's a quality over quantity. You're going to like the finer things in life, and that's a very, very good thing.
Yeah. That's true. Very true.
Next is what are called the most positive things in both your faces. They're called falling lines. I washed out most of the terms in traditional Chinese medicine because this is facial diagnosis is based on traditional Chinese medicine, TCM. But these lines in mine are incredibly deep. You'll see them right here. They're called nasal labial lines. That just sounds bad. It almost sounds vaginal. So I decided to stick with the original name, which is falling. Falling means purpose and spiritual strength. You both have found your purpose. You're living your purpose. You have immense spiritual strength. It's got nothing to do with religion. And that's an important thing. Spiritual strength can be tied to religion, and yet it doesn't have to be. So again,
I love that.
you found it and you're living it, and it shows.
Yay!
Yeah, and it's a good thing.
You wrote in here, do not inject filler in this area ever.
No. You'll take away your purpose.
Oh, really? People want to get rid of those.
Don't. They're called smile lines. You smile, what happens? Smile, they get bigger.
Yeah.
You want to take away your smile? This is not good.
Ask Dr. Todd about that. What's his opinion on that, Jess?
I use like a gouache stone sometimes twice a day, usually once every night. But
You know what that is, Dr. Todd?
helps with like lymphatic drainage and just like getting rid of the lines.
Yeah, that's normal. But when you put a filler in, look, I'm not do filler, don't do filler. That's your call. But you can. Let's go back to the nose, and I've used this when I did Michael Fishman's that podcast. If nose represents power, drive, and ego, I'm going to say two words, and you tell me what comes to your mind. And the words are Michael Jackson. Cut off his nose.
Michael Jackson.
Yeah.
He had a beautiful nose. He was a beautiful man.
Mm-hmm.
Just an incredible, talented man. And at the end, he had no nose, and he had no power, no drive, no ego, and he died at 50 injecting something out of sleep.
Yeah.
And it's such a bad thing, and it didn't have to happen. He had some issues, I'm not going to,
Sure.
but he literally cut off his nose to spite his face. So, do you want to take your purpose away? Yeah, I mean, you could throw some dirt and grow some potatoes in mine. I
actually love them so much more just because they are purpose. I love them.
Yeah, they are perfect. Lips, this is going to be an interesting one for you, Jess. So lips, Jordyn, you have a very straight line between your lips. So you're very much a straight talker.
Okay.
Now, there's a little slight waviness between your lips, Jess. And there's nothing in your countenance that says you're dishonest and not a truthful individual. My sense is you're either wanting to say something and choose not to, or being stopped from saying something you want to say by someone. So again, you're going to have to let that just kind of sink in and kind of go with it. You'll see this a lot with actors. They often will have wavy lines because they're not speaking their own lines. So
yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah. So again, you let that just kind of float around in the universe and see what comes up. You don't have to answer that.
Are you thinking of anything in particular, Jess?
Yeah, no, I already know what it is.
Okay.
I'm an honest person, but I will generally like hold back information. So because I'm also like very, I watch the emotion and then I will like say what I need.
Not to say something because you don't want to hurt somebody's feelings.
Yeah.
Which is the equivalent of walking in some ways, if you think about it. If you throw away all the peripheral stuff, it's almost like lying. It's not, but again, nothing's good or bad. It just, it's just something you want to let kind of Yeah.
Are you good at detecting liars, Dr. Todd? Like, can you tell when someone's lying? Are there
Yeah,
specific
my
signs?
daughter, who co-wrote the first book, we just finished the second book. I wrote it with my wife, WTF2. Um, she says, in the book, she says, I don't know what's worse, the shotgun or dad who can read faces.
Oh, it's so true.
It is. So,
Yeah.
so that was lips. Chin, both of you have rounded chins, which you're balanced temperament, you're warm, you're kind, you're tactful, you're friendly, generous, intuitive, strong sense of family, good mediator, sympathetic, supportive. I mean, and you are. It's just there.
You're
Both
making
of
us
you,
feel good.
both of you have a little bit of a line. Yours is a little deeper, Jordyn. This little hook-shaped line right here. This indicates there's a tipped uterus or prolapsed uterus.
Oh,
How many children have you had?
3.
Okay. Having multiple births, especially if they're close together, can cause
Yeah.
uterus, and it just kind of tips
Oh,
over. And again,
interesting.
lays on top of your bladder and got to pee a lot. So, can you have some gut issues? You can, but again, you don't want to see this in a 17-year-old girl because they're going to have fertility issues.
Okay.
Can
So
actually,
you think this happened like post-birth, from
yeah,
birth?
yeah. And I don't. This isn't anything serious. You just have a tipped uterus. You know,
No, it's nothing that I need to be concerned about.
no, no. I mean, if you're having a lot of menstrual problems and weird stuff there, this is something that you want to pay attention to. And there's some things you can do. Hanging upside down, gravity. Literally, this is surrendered to gravity. Hanging upside down, jumping on a rebounder can help because that little trampoline can be really
We
effective.
talked about this on our other podcast, so if I jump on that, I'll pee my pants.
Because your uterus is laid on top of your bladder. So
Yeah. Makes sense now.
yeah, absolutely. So both of you, jaws about determination being rooted in your belief system. Both of you have very strong jaws. So you're both very determined and very rooted in your personal belief systems. So that's you guys.
Okay.
Okay, Dr. Todd, I have so many questions. Many questions. Are you okay if I ask you questions?
Oh, absolutely. And it's not.
Okay.
Just expecting it from you.
I know. I know. The bucket in me.
Your bucket
right?
is coming out.
Were you so surprised that we were able to not read our analysis, though?
I was. I wouldn't have
In a
been able to do
bucket. Yeah, it was hard.
Yeah. It was
Yeah.
kind of cool that you didn't, and
Yeah.
pretty brave on your part too. There was nothing untoward on either one of you.
Well,
But-
Linda kept saying he's going to be straight with you, so
Yeah,
beware. And I was like, oh no, what does that mean?
Well, Mom asked me several times, like, what do you think he's going to say? Because, like, she said it a couple of times. I'm like, I don't know. I'm not worried about it.
No. It's just, when you read faces, you can never not read faces. I can't walk through an airport. I can't turn it off. It's
That's what I was
it's
going
tough
to
when
ask.
I
You're
see
just
some little
running
kid that I know if they
constantly.
would do this, this, and this, they wouldn't have the problems they're having. And you can't walk up to somebody you don't know and go, your child has got this, and if you have this, they'll be better. But it's
This would be so good for parenting, though, to know this.
it is. And there's no person that can't benefit from reading faces. And we already do. One of your children comes out in the morning, you look at me, you okay, Dee? Something bothering you? You feeling okay? Well, what did you see you didn't see the morning before? Well, you saw something that was diagnosable and you diagnosed it. So, our book just put legs to it, and that's the cool part of it. The first book was just basics where this means this and this line across means this. It wasn't a complaint, but it was a comment that we got. Well, okay, this is great, but now what do I do? So the second book is WTF, Why the Face? Doesn't sell well in church bookstores, by the way. WTF2, What You Gonna Do? And this is homage to my mom. So my mother was the greatest lady that ever lived. And I was raised by my mother and my aunt. My father was an alcoholic, drank himself to death when I was 9. You can see that right here. This nice piece right here. That's deeper side. That's inherited liver weakness from my dad. And I would call her often when life was giving me challenges. And she had 8th grade education, but she was a farm girl but she had street cred and she had wisdom. But if she didn't know the answer, she'd say, well, what you going to do? And so the book is WTF2, What You going to do? And it's about if you see this line that droops, then jump on a rebounder, increase fiber, other different things we can help you on what you can do to make a difference. Eat protein in the morning if you got low blood sugar.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm going to do that for sure. I mean, I
Yeah.
do already, but I'm going to just make sure we stick to that. Yeah.
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 And it's so the second book, it's softer, a little more bearing my soul a little more than I did in the first book,
Yeah.
which is fine. I'm at that point in life where I just want to make a difference. I want to be significant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. Well, I want to ask you a couple questions before we let you go, and I'm hoping that we can do a rapid fire round. Are you in for a rapid fire round?
Bring it.
Yeah.
I love it. Okay.
I've been on so many podcasts. It's just unnerving. And the thing I like about you guys and have disdain for the other side is when they said, well, we'll send you questions. I go, no, I don't want your questions. There's
Yeah.
nothing. Then it's canned and it'll come out and my mouth's canned.
Yeah.
And I love organic. I love shooting from the hip because I got nothing that died.
I love it. Okay, well, what I'm thinking is we're gonna do I'm gonna ask you some questions, and you're gonna choose. Now that you've analyzed between Jess and I, you're gonna choose which one.
Okay.
So for example, I'll say, well, let's just do it. We'll just go ahead. Okay, you ready? So, out of the two of us, who would be a better poker player?
Better poker player.
It's rapid, Dr. Todd. You gotta
Yeah. You both think too much.
Okay, neither
Strong
then.
protector. Jordyn, I'd pick you.
Okay, I'll take it. Better salesperson.
Probably Jessica
Okay.
because she's got
More
the wrenches.
more stubborn.
More stubborn. Oh, Jordyn.
More likely to start a business.
Ooh, both of you would be very good. Yeah, it'd be a toss up. I don't think I could
We'll
pick
take
one.
both. Okay.
Yeah.
More likely to survive on a deserted island.
Probably Jordyn.
Yeah, I would say that.
Just because you got that one.
You're an iron face, so you're strong, stable, stubborn.
Yeah.
Sorry, I lost my questions here. Okay, let's see. More likely to become famous.
Probably Jessica.
Hey, Jess. More likely to get arrested.
Yeah, Jessica. Sorry.
Pretty checked down.
More likely to start an argument.
Yeah, that's Jordyn.
And then more likely to finish what they start.
Both of you would be good at that. Probably you, Jordyn, because you're the iron face. Get the job done. And again, it depends if you're interested. Now, if both of you are not interested in something, Jessa will get it done. Jordyn, you'll get bored and do something else.
I love that when you were talking about the goals in the beginning,
Mhm.
it was so interesting to me because if I don't have my sights set on something, I feel so unfulfilled. Like I have to have something that I'm working towards. And
That's an iron quality.
Yeah.
I mean, you're very, again, Trump bought all those people up, and I watched that and I go, wow, that's not his persona. It's all about him. And he's not a likable guy. I mean, we all got to agree to that.
Yeah.
But he never changes. He's very predictable, and he's not a flip flopper. What he says is what he is. And all those people, he named everybody. It was like, that was an impressive thing for me. And simply because it told me more about him. He's not how he portrays himself. I wish he would change that.
Yeah.
I think he could
That's interesting.
win more.
Do you see that like certain face shapes, like similar face shapes, do they gravitate towards each other or is it the opposite?
Yeah. So I've been asked to kind of look at this from a dating standpoint. And I will tell you, two king faces, if they stay married, they'll make wonderful kids. The odds of them staying married because they're both leaders is pretty slim. I haven't put a lot of energy into that. I'm being pulled into the world of business. Matter of fact, I'm going to Australia beginning of next year to do a one-day conference to business people to help them, put the right person in the right seat on the bus in their company.
Yeah.
And, you want to, if you got somebody with a big, giant brow bone with a deep crease, he's going to piss people off. So make sure you put him in a place where that damage can be lessened because they're very controlled people. Brow bone's about control, and when they got a big dip in it, they're very mean spirited about control. Now they can be a good plant manager, but they can't be a company president because too many bodies will be slewn. But he'll get the job done.
Yeah.
Okay.
I can think of so many aspects in life that this would be so beneficial.
It is.
Has there ever, what's the craziest thing that you have accurately predicted in someone's face?
We don't have enough time.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean, you predicted some pretty crazy things today.
Yeah, when you point out the toughest is when there's been sexual abuse, and and you have to, you can't say, when were you sexually abused? That's not how you do that. You word your statements and questions in a way that it invites them to share that.
Yeah.
And I can see it, and I need them to know that I know, but I can't tell them. So there's a dance that you have to go through. And when you have, there's a face called a fire face. They're very triangular. Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And one of the gals on the
The Secret Lives.
King Fire, Layla.
Oh,
is-
Layla. Okay.
She's a bit of a fire face. She's a sensitive leader. But I would know when I'm talking to a fire face. I don't say, "Look, you got 4 things going on. You got to jump on this. You're in big trouble if you don't get on this right now." They're never coming back because their sensitivity has been. I abuse them verbally. What you say to a fire face is, "Look, you got 3 things going on, but we need to respect your sensitivity. Normally, I'd support this with 2 or 3 things, but let's use one. Let's start it at a half dose just to see how you do. Let's respect your sensitivity." And then a tear comes out of the corner of their eye, and they go, and they're all in. They're just like, "What are you going to say, Dr. Todd? I will do." So that ability to speak into someone's life and make an impact was very important to me. I wanted to make a difference in their life. But it's when they have something that's really been tough and they have to bring it back to the front, because oftentimes they can never get well because of it. So I have to get them to bring it to the forefront so we can process the healing. That's the emotional concussion we talked about.
Have you ever ran into somebody that maybe hasn't acknowledged? What am I trying to say?
It was so awful that they've literally forgotten it.
Yeah, because that's what the brain does, right?
It does, yeah.
Yeah.
Avoidance is a male-dominated trait, I might add.
Yeah.
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 Yeah,
Very
that's
cool.
interesting. I have a couple
Jessica?
questions. Yeah, before we go. So since you've analyzed Jordyn and I, were from Utah, born and raised here,
Mhm.
and then you're analyzing the Secret Lives of Mormon Wives, their face from Utah. Do we share any common facial characteristics?
These 9, look, if you help Catholics, they refer Catholics. If you help gay people, they refer gay people. If you help wealthy people, they refer wealthy people. I saw a lot of Mormons in St. Louis because I worked with them. So I got to know them. And when I saw these ladies, none of them looked like Mormons.
Oh, interesting.
I mean, it was almost like, whoa, this is not what I would have expected. And I have a lot of respect for the Mormon faith. I think they're very good at helping other people, especially
Yeah.
their own clan. And I think that's a very, very positive trait. So I probably defend them more than what the normal person would, simply because I've known enough of them to know what quality they are. There's some amazing quality. Not that other religions don't have quality people, but these gals just didn't look Mormon to me, based on
That's interesting.
my
Interesting. So, like, when Jordan and I logged on today, would you have assumed that we're from the LDS religion?
Well, I would have thought that because Linda told me that you're very much in critiquing the nine secret lives of Mormon wives. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Again, I've never seen the show, so I cannot comment on what it's about.
Yeah.
I could tell you there's a lot of drama there because you can't put that many king faces in the room and not have fire.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
No, I mean, I guess I thought there's a possibility simply because you were very interested in this show, but beyond that, no. And I don't, I don't, I don't care where what what religion someone is. It's not
yeah.
important to me. I need people that have a light in them. There's a great story. There's a pastor named he wrote The Circle Maker, Mark Batterson, and he tells a story of his name was as a missionary. It was A. Milne. I don't know if he was related to the or A.W. Milne, not A. Milne was Winnie the Pooh, but they called themselves one way missionaries. And matter of fact, they packed their belongings in a coffin because they knew they were going to be killed for their belief. And he decided to go to the New Hebrides and think Shrunken Heads, just to put it in context. And he did, in fact, he was in fact buried in his wooden coffin, but it was 35 years later. And the locals carved on his tombstone, and they carved. When he came, there was no light. When he left, there was no darkness.
Oh, wow.
Let that sink in. We got to be a light. I don't care how if you're be an Islamic light, be a Jehovah's Witness light, be a Mormon light, be a Catholic light, be a Lutheran light, be a light.
Yeah.
I love
Carve it on a tombstone.
Yes.
I love that.
Sorry.
One more question for you, Dr. Todd. What's one thing that every listener can do tonight when they look in the mirror, and it might be something they can look at that will help them understand themselves better? What's one feature that they can read?
Look for these lines between the eyebrows. They're liver lines, and the emotional liver is anger. And if we all made an angry face right now, these lines get really deep. Mm-hmm. So if they're there, deal with anger, because anger is toxic. The emotion, and it's biblical. Love is the emotion, and there's a vibrational rate to everything. And they've studied this forever. And the word love has a vibrational rate of 528 hertz. Okay. And I literally tried to put every patient that walked through my door with acupuncture into a state of 528 hertz. And I never told anybody what I was doing, because I thought if I told them what I was doing, I'd remove all doubt from their mind that I was crazy and they would never come back. So I never. And I had this Southern Belle gal. She said, "Dr. Todd, what are you doing?" And I go, "Excuse me?" She said, "Well, what are you doing?" And I said, "Once again, I don't understand the question." And she said, "Well, what are you doing? I come in here, you do this hardly anything to me, and I leave and I feel better. What are you doing?" And I get this check in my spirit, like, "Yeah, don't go there." And she's a just gentle, sweet little old lady, and she was a widow. And I said, "Well," I thought, "what the hell?" And I said, "I'm putting you into a state of 528 hertz." And I said, "That's the hertz of the word love. And that's a very healing energy." And I said, "Other words have different energy. Hate and anger has a vibration rate of 100. Fear has a vibration rate of 125. There's nothing, it brings you down from 528. So if you spend a lot of your time in anger and hatred and fear, you're going to leave 528 in a big hurry." And I said, the key here is to understand that diseases have vibrational rates. Cancer, for instance, depending on the cancer, has a vibrational rate of 40 to 100 hertz. So if hate and anger is a big part of your life, you're bringing your body's energy down to where cancer says, "Hey, I can live here." There's nothing wrong with cancer. It just lives at a vibrational rate that's very deleterious to our health. she burst into tears. And I'm thinking, dang, I knew I shouldn't have done this. And she said, you never knew my husband, did you? And I said, no, I did not. She said, I stayed with him because was the proper thing to do, but he was a hateful man. He was despised he owned a become multimillionaire, and everybody hated him. And he died of stage 4 pancreatic cancer. And then she asked the question that she says, had he not been that way, would he have succumbed to cancer? And I was like, the answer is yeah, he wouldn't have succumbed. But I couldn't say that.
Wow.
I would not have said that. I said, look, that's beyond my abilities. So I blew it off. But, I think it's important to mirrors reflect us, and we need to be self-reflective. And if we're spending a lot of time and energy in things that aren't healthy, whether it be physiologically or spiritually or emotionally, then disease says, hey, I can live here. So
Yeah.
that's a long run for a short jump, wasn't it? That was a very short question.
Yeah, I know it's
Very cool
really
story,
good
though.
information.
Yeah. Well, Dr. Todd, you are a light.
Thank you.
So thank you so much for coming on. Will you tell our listeners where they can find you?
We can
WTFwhytheface.com.
Yes.
Perfect.
And
then drfrisch.com. And
we'll link them in the show notes as well. So
yes, this has been really fun and fun.
It's great. So thoroughly enjoyed it. Just I've been on many of these things, and this was wonderful. You're very easy to chat with, but your face to say you would be. So I knew that. I knew it going.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
We appreciate you.
Really enjoyed it.
All right, Feral friends, that's a wrap on today's episode.
If you loved hanging out with us, make sure you hit that follow button. Until next time.
Thanks for listening to First and Feral, Utah Unfiltered. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay a little feral.